Welcome back to this edition of Helping Hands. My guests are from Suncoast Mental Health Center, and this is Art Ciasca, and you are the CEO?
I am the CEO of Suncoast, yes.
Okay, and we're old friends.
We are, actually.
So,
yes.
And Robert Campbell.
Yes.
And Robert, you are...
Program Director for St. Lucie County.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. It's great to have you here.
Appreciate you being here.
So, talk to me a little bit about Suncoast Mental Health. What is that?
We're a mental health center that is in the 4 counties, St. Lucie, Indian River, Martin, and Okeechobee counties. And we've actually been around since 1998. So we're 15 years old. And we are a 501c3 organization, not-for-profit. And we work mostly with children with mental health and or behavioral issues and their families. Recently, we started providing some services for adults, but our main focus has been working with children.
Many times if you're working with the children, though, it would seem to me that you have to work with the adults because it's many times family that has to be taken care of, worked on. However, I think that's great. You know, unfortunately, as quickly as we grow, we need the additional services in the community. So I'm glad that you're here. And you're in Fort Pierce?
Our administrative office and St. Lucie County office is in Fort Pierce on US 1, between Edwards and Virginia Avenue, in that plaza right behind the where Out of Bounds restaurant was operating. You know, but that point you made, though, too, about working with the families, I just want to share just a brief little story about that. We have psychiatrists and counselors and case managers who work with the children and their families. And the psychiatrist that works out of our Martin County office in particular, he shared a little story with me when I came on board at Suncoast, which was that when he was approached to work at Suncoast, he wanted to know that make sure that Suncoast had a team approach to working with the children and the families, which would include not only him as a psychiatrist, but the therapists and the case managers. And he wanted that assurance, and he's been on board with us a year now, and he feels so comfortable with the way we deliver our services for the children and families. So that is a big part of it. I mean, if you're just working with children and not addressing the family dynamics and the family piece of it, it's going to be a lot more difficult to make a positive impact.
And take much, much, much longer. So
exactly.
And to add to that, you know, the families that, you know, we work with, I encourage the therapists to really bond with them, because it's sometimes difficult to meet the families at home. A lot of times we go to the schools and see the kids, but once you have that bond with them and you do go to the home, the families are usually open. You know, they welcome you in as almost one of theirs. So it's very important for us to, you know, make that bond. And the doctor that that Art was speaking about, he sees that. You know, we go in and participate in sessions while he's seeing the family, the child, for their doctor appointment. Therapists, case managers participate in those sessions as well to provide feedback, and, you know, so we can have that team approach to help the child and the family to you know, move on and do better.
what are the most common diagnoses that you work with?
A lot of adjustment disorder with kids, ADHD, defiant behaviors, school problems. A lot of them are single moms trying to raise 1, 2, 3 kids, and we try to help them, you know, adjust to what's going on in their family life. And they're young. We start off as young as 5 and up to 18 and older. You know, so, and we have had some that have been as young as 4. We just can't provide psych to them, but counseling we definitely can.
How do people find you?
They can go on the internet and find us. The schools refer them. We have self-referrals. Their private doctors, PCPs, refer them to us. So just multiple different ways that they find us.
So the schools do.
The schools do yes.
Referrals. Good.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear
Teachers, because we're in and out of schools. We also provide counseling at the schools with a lot of our kids. So teachers see us there and may tell their what is it called, their guidance counselor that suggest that one of their students may need assistance, and they send us a referral.
And we'll make sure that we have your phone number and your website,
Okay.
So that if anybody feels that they're in need or knows somebody, they can contact you.
Definitely.
That is, such an important piece, and we appreciate you doing that, because one of the things we realize with Suncoast is that we have a great quality of care, and we have great caring therapists, as Robert is not only a program director but a therapist and has a caseload of his own, works with the children and families. We have a great staff, but there's a lot of people in the 4 counties that are not aware that Suncoast is out there to provide the services for the children and the families. So we're really looking to increase the awareness of this organization. Children today are just faced with so much going on, and you look at crime, you look at violence, you look at messages that are coming across in music and television and video games, and you look at bullying and teen dating violence. I can't imagine being a child today, and with all the issues that they're facing, a lot of the children will have trouble adjusting or may be experiencing clinical levels of anxiety or depression and hyperactivity. And there's resources out there, and we are a resource, and we really want the community to know that if a child is not performing up to par, there seem to be some issues, this is a great resource for them to get help.
Sometimes it's, I shouldn't say an easy fix, but that is an easier fix than living through it and not understanding. Correct. And feeling that the child is just never going to listen, right. And you don't know what to do, and you are at your wit's end. Exactly. And it's tough. Yeah,
we are definitely here to help. We're definitely here to help the child, to help the family. Some parents, though, and it's a good feeling at times, that they feel that the child is doing so much better with us helping, they don't want to let us go. But we always let them know, we're always here. Right. They've achieved their goals, they've achieved their objectives. It's time for them to move on and see how they can do without us. But if needed, you can always come back. Our doors are always open. So, and that's something we definitely let them know, though.
Good. So what makes you different than the other mental health providers?
I think a lot of it, I've worked in mental health psych for a number of years in the area. And I think a lot of it kind of comes back to my earlier statement about what this one psychiatrist mentioned to me about what he wanted to see from Suncoast as far as the team approach, not only from our side, the staff, the case managers, therapists, the doctor working together, but also, again, working with the children and the families. The level of caring that I have witnessed while working at Suncoast is incredible. I am just very, very impressed with the compassion, the caring, the efforts we have among our therapists and our case managers and our psychiatric staff, the doctors and the psychiatric nurse practitioner that we have. I think that really sets us apart. We are a small organization. We're not a huge organization. We don't have a full continuum of care. And again, but we're going into the homes. We're going into the schools where people come to our offices, and but it's really that level of caring and compassion and effort.
And you use volunteers?
We have not so much. We've used interns, and we do supervise some interns, but we would love to have some volunteers. We've just recruited about 6 new board members for Suncoast, and certainly board members are volunteers, and they're going to help us, from a board member side, but folks that come in and even do some clerical work, or even if they just have an interest in shadowing, some of the work we do. People getting involved. The holidays are coming up really quickly, and we are working with a lot of families that are disadvantaged economically. And sometimes the holidays are tough, and there's not enough funds to provide, gifts for the children. And you think about that, you think about when, to your own childhood, and you think about what if I didn't receive any gifts as a kid, and how would I have felt? And so people who want to come in and, donate items, crafts, gift cards, things like that would always be helpful too. So we would love if somebody has some interest in this organization from that point of view, to give us a call, and we would love to chat with them about that.
Okay, and again, they can contact you either through the website or the phone number, which we are
correct
putting on. Okay,
yes.
Good. So tell me, you haven't been with the organization very long.
I'm actually been employed with them just since August 1 officially.
Okay.
I was on their board of directors for about 5 years, just a few years back. I've always been in management in the area, came from Safe Space most recently, but I've been in management in mental health and other organizations. But when I joined the board of directors a few years ago, was because I really believed in the mission of this organization, is to really provide help for children and their families. So I served in that capacity for 5 years. I have come back as its CEO just on August 1. And as tough as it was to leave Safe Space, and what a great organization and mission that organization has, this has been phenomenal. And I've just been so impressed with what I've seen at Suncoast so far.
And Robert, you are so positive. You live here in PSL,
right,
which is always great. I always love to hear that. And how long have you been with Suncoast?
October will make it 3 years. I started with them as part-time, and not last March, but the year before, I decided to go full-time with Suncoast. And because I felt the need of being more active in the children's lives that I was working with. When I was working part-time, I was working between 2 jobs, and I could only see them in the evening time, so I couldn't get into the schools to really see what was going on there, and I really wanted to participate more. So I decided to go ahead and go full-time, and it's been a wonderful road. A year later, I've become a program director, and I'm just hands in, every little piece of Suncoast, just trying to.
As a program director, are you still going to be seeing patients?
Yes, I still
seeing clients.
Yes, I still keep a caseload. I wouldn't have it any other way. I enjoy, seeing clients. I have clients as young as 5, all the way up to 18. I don't have any adults right now, but all the way up to 18. There's one particular young man that I keep a tab on. I've closed his case, but I still see his brother. So I keep a tab on him to make sure that he's still focused and trying to do what he's supposed to do. He graduated high school. He had a struggle. He moved from up north, came down with his mom and stepdad and stepbrother. He left a lot of family up there, and he struggled with that. He was able to go ahead and work through that and graduate high school, and is now attending IRSC. But the biggest thing that he did was get such a high score on his ASVAB that he could choose any service that he wanted to go into. So right now he's just kind of sitting back and just enjoying this right now, but I definitely stay on top of him to make sure that he doesn't let that go. But he just wants to see how things are going to be for him right now with going to college and working. But in the back of his mind, he still has the opportunity to go into the service, whichever branch he would like to go to, because he did so well on the test. So, but it's a good feeling when you see the kids get through or make it through whatever struggles they were going through. And move on with life, just achieve great things and continue working towards, achieving more, because, they're young. And one of my things is that, when I was growing up, it was children are our future. And that's something that I keep in my mind. Children are our future. We're going to get older. They're going to be the ones, coming to our spots at some point in time. So we have to invest in them, and let them know that, they are our future. They can, make something of their life. There's great opportunities out there for them, and me living here in St. Lucie County for the last 9 years, I'm invested. You know, I lived in Miami over 30 years, and I can see St. Lucie County becoming, I don't want to say a Miami, but
No.
a great.
Don't say that, because that's not, we don't want that to happen.
Exactly, but a great city of its own, you know, just doing some great things here. I just see some positive things happening in St. Lucie County.
I tend to agree. You know, you're probably talking to the wrong person as far as that goes, but that's my love for the city. I've been here for almost 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So I have seen where we've come from, and as we discussed before, you know, there's a lot of things we want here.
Definitely.
But in a later conversation, I can tell you what was here when I got here, which was probably about nothing. So, but it's great to have you guys. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
I didn't realize that you were focusing more on the children, even though you are starting to expand to the adults. And to me, it's not just the children; it's the families.
Definitely.
But it's a great way to get to them and their siblings and make a difference. And kids need to know how special they are.
Oh, definitely.
Each and every one of them. And, you know, I'm also with the Kids at Hope and the Roundtable. So our motto is every child can succeed, no exceptions. And I believe that. We just have to figure out where their talents are and help guide them. And it's great. They are our future. And as we get older, we realize that even more.
Yes, exactly.
So you know, we need those people, the kids, the younger generations, to start taking the reins, because we get stale. They come in with new ideas, new things to do. So I'm hoping that we'll have some volunteer calls.
That'd be great.
Maybe you can set up a program for the holidays so that there can be the kids that you're dealing with will not be ignored. And there are many of those going on, but another organization, another kid, that's what's really important.
Definitely.
So I want to thank you guys for being here.
Thank you, Linda. We appreciate
you for having us.
And if there's anything else, you know, we can always look at it. You're doing fundraisers, come back and see me.
We will.
We can talk about that. Okay?
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after this message.